In this video, I'm going to discuss how to translate the proportions in the designer's sketch for the bishop sleeve into the reality of the actor-sized pattern and the actor's body proportions. So in this quick little designer's sketch that shows the center front of the bodice, here's the waist, side seam, the arm's eye, shoulder, neck, and this is the bishop sleeve coming off of that. And then there's a tall cuff on that bishop sleeve. And so we need to figure out what proportion from the wrist down here to the shoulder, what proportion of that length is the cuff? Because we're going to need to cut the cuff away from the upper portion of the sleeve in order to do our patterning. So we need to figure out what proportion of the overall length is this cuff. And we can do that by measuring the cuff itself and then using that as a unit of measure. We don't even have to know that it's 1 1/4 or 3 inches or on this sketch what that is. We just take this and pretend that that's a new unit of measure that we're going to use. So using the cuff as a unit of measure, a cuff unit, let's see how many units the rest of the sleeve is. So here's one, here's another, and here's essentially another. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from shoulder to wrist, this is 5 units long. So how do we translate this proportion to this sleeve? We know that this is marked into 5 units. So let's mark this in 5 units. And that measures, wow, very close to 25 inches, which beautifully divides by 5 every 5 inches. So what that tells us is that the proportion the designer drew here is here. This is the first unit. So that cuff is 5 inches or 4 3/4, 4 7/8. That cuff height here translates into a cuff height here. And that's where we'll draw the line for our cuff. So here is that cuff inked in, and we're now going to cut the cuff pattern away from the upper sleeve pattern. And we're going to manipulate the cuff a little bit by adding onto it for underlap, overlap, for buttoning. And then we are going to slash and spread this upper portion of the sleeve to achieve this bishop look. And so here is the cuff cut away from the upper sleeve, and we'll add the answer the 2 essential questions. Where is fullness added around the bottom? So we will slash, as we did with the short sleeve, and add width, and then where is extra length added? And there's a little bit at the front, but more at the back. And we'll explore all of that in class.